My name is Jared Young, and I'm so excited to have you here. And I'm so excited to have our guest with us today. My friend Josh Eidenberg, he's an extraordinary entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur that has achieved high levels of success. And what he's committed this chapter of his life to, and my gut says many chapters going forward, is impact. Helping startups and founders find real, meaningful impact within their businesses. Listen, we need to make sure the idea is right. We need to make sure that the market is ready for the idea, and we need a viable business model. But what about impact? And what about impact that matters? Many businesses are just attaching random words and terminologies and foundations to what they're doing because they think it sounds good. It's really marketable. Yeah. But when you can really align with the right impact for your business model, you'll attract more investor dollars, you'll attract more raving fans, you'll attract more users, you'll attract greater valuation, but it must be with integrity. So Josh, my man, I could not be happier to have you here. Thank you for being here with us. So I know that tech and entrepreneurship has played a major role in your life, but take us back a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, what is your genesis story as an entrepreneur?
Well, so when I was 19 years old, I started a video production company. I went to film school. I really wanted, I loved just like capturing life through the camera, through the lens. And it was right when I was in school, I had the ability to use school equipment and do school projects or start my own thing. Yeah. And I was like, I begged my parents to get me a camera, give me a microphone, give me lens, lights, all that stuff. And they were like, what do you need that for? You're going to school. And I'm like, well, I want to do my own thing outside of school, and I don't want to be within those limits. I really want to set the boundaries of what's possible. So after I graduate, I already have a portfolio, and it's not just school stuff.
Yeah,
so I co-founded a company called Films. We started shooting commercials and music videos, but in the beginning it was hard. Yeah. Like, we were using Craigslist. This was like 2009. We were like searching for need videographer, need editor, people that like were just looking for talent, and we would be the first ones to respond. One of our first clients was 7-time NBA All-Star Tracy McGrady. Landed on Craigslist. I kid you not.
That's unreal.
Like we did. Craigslist was an incredible place for us back then. I mean, we did stuff for Michael Jackson's 1-year anniversary with Joe Jackson, his father, on Craigslist.
It was the original marketplace, right? Like, there's a lot of marketplaces now, and originally it was so pure, and it was being used for the right reason. People would literally just call and be like, can you really help? And I'm like, yeah. And I just said yes. We didn't really know what we were doing. Like, Incredible. So this video production company was your catalyst as an entrepreneur. You started to make some money.
Yeah.
You started to realize that what you were learning in a classroom was potentially not what you were going to need in real life to create the kind of impact and success that you wanted to. And that was it was your catalyst, though. So since that company, you've done quite a bit. What was the next chapter for you?
Yeah. So I went from video production to being a part of a technology company. And my background was like, I was really into like interactive multimedia, like audio, sound, visual, all that kind of stuff. And I had this opportunity to work for a startup called Tip Solutions, which stands for Technology in Progress. And they wanted to reinvent how the world answers a phone call. They had this idea of like, what would it look like if you had more buttons than just answer and decline? And this was before reply by text. This was like, what if I could press the hold button and play music where it says, please hold on, Josh will be right with you, and the music starts playing, so we could finish our conversation, whatever it is that we're doing, and then resume the call. And then we built a call screener to try to combat the spam calls. So you could press a button. It was hi, may I ask who's calling, what the call's about? And the person would say what the call's about, and it would translate voice to text, so you could read while you're in a meeting. Oh, this person's calling about, oh wow, I should answer that. Or that's a spam call, and you don't even have to pick up the phone.
So what role did you play at this company?
So I was the I started off as the chief creative officer, building their website, building their videos, and then I got into like product. I was like, what can we really do? What can we really do with this? And I started working with the engineers and became head of product.
So what was your greatest lesson in that chapter? Because that's a really cool chapter, right? You go from being this like I'm gonna just out of nowhere start a video production company. I'm gonna talk to my parents. I'm gonna get the equipment I need. You get some really cool clients, so that gets you going for sure.
Yeah,
but now you get involved in tech, and that's like a whole nother world, right? Like tech and the ability to scale and produce impact and be agile and to innovate. What was the greatest lesson you learned at that stage?
The greatest lesson is really like truly believing in yourself and believing in the product and the impact that it can make. For me, I saw a lot of people at that time like texting and having a lot of text message conversations, because then reply by text ended up coming out, and then every phone call got reverted into a text message, and then people aren't talking on the phone anymore. People aren't connecting. People aren't having that back and forth conversation with the reciprocity, the tone, the inflection, the emotion that you get from a voice call. And you know, this company was not a success at all. Like, we had a technological dependency. We built technology. We successfully got 12 patents for the technology of putting an MP3 file through the phone call. And we pitched Shaquille O'Neal. He became a brand ambassador for our company. But then we needed to pitch Samsung and Apple and AT&T and Verizon to all get them to adopt this technology and put it into the operating system, put it into the carrier. And we did everything that we could to get them to adopt it. We put together like custom pitches for every single phone, every single device, and they didn't see the vision.
Yeah.
So
this is one of the greatest lessons for entrepreneurs to learn when there's a dependency, but there's only a few players, right? There was only 4
We were going
or 5.
after the elephants.
That was it, right? And like if all 4 say no, it doesn't matter what the patents provide you with, right?
Man.
Like, because you need those dependencies to say yes. And I talk about this all the time with entrepreneurs that are stepping into tech. And I say to them, how do we find a way for you to control your destiny? Doesn't mean that in the future we're not going to go after those 4 elephants, but what can we do between now and then to prove that we can get to cash flow positive, to prove that there's a market for this, there's product market fit, and if we can prove that without having dependencies, then we have more leverage when we get to the dependencies. Otherwise, you have no leverage, and I believe that it's every entrepreneur's responsibility to create leverage. Not for negative, but to create leverage to produce a positive outcome. So from there, you dipped your toe, or you fully immersed yourself into tech.
I went from something that
what was next for you?
I went from something that we really couldn't control, that was really out of our control, because we were ultimately building a company for somebody else to bring to market, to really learning all about software and technology and artificial intelligence. And then I became known as the app guy.
That's awesome.
Like, my friends called me the app guy. They're like, Josh is an app. Josh, you are an app. And started building apps for other people. Launched a company called Future Proof, which, really took my idea of like, what can the future look like, and how can we build tools and technologies that allow people to like build something that lasts and build something that continuously grows, build something that can go from one technology to the next technology and ultimately become future-proof. And it's been just so fun working with entrepreneurs and people with ideas, and also getting involved and becoming investors and partners in these ideas. I would consider myself a parallel entrepreneur like yourself, where it's just like, it creates so much opportunity where you not only just get paid to work with people, but you become a part of that company. You're able to really bring your life's gifts to that business.
And what are some of the things that you see, because you are a parallel entrepreneur, like there's an incredible amount of diversity in your life. So many people say like, just focus on one thing and that's all you should do, and that doesn't work for me. And like, I used to think that was just what you did, and that's what I did for years. And I found myself in some ways like burning out, because I didn't have that stimulation that I needed to positively juggle, to learn from one and apply to something else. But what are some of the consistencies that you're seeing in tech right now with entrepreneurs that have great ideas, that are finding a way to raise capital, begin to scale, and then go for the exit? What are some of the similarities with regards to what's working in the tech industry?
Yeah, so entrepreneurship is really all about team and timing. And I think like it's amazing to see, we've had success in like micro apps. We just launched an app called The Miracle Morning. We did a 30-day challenge that challenges people into waking up to their full potential, based on a bestseller book by Hal Elrod called The Miracle Morning. It's been translated in 34 different languages. The Wake Up community is over 3.5 million people all over the globe in over 200 countries. So we built an app that challenges them to wake up to their full potential every single day. It's based on this acronym called SAVERS, which stands for Silence, Affirmations, Visualization, Exercise, Reading, and Scribing. Hal interviewed what the most successful thought leaders attributed their success to and found out that the one thing that they all had in common was a structured morning routine. Wow. So he's like, what if I did all of those things? Like some of these leaders would like read, they'd work out, they'd pray. Some of them would visualize, some of them would affirm and work out. He's like, well, if I just did all these things, I'd probably be the ultimate success. Yeah. So he wrote a whole book on it. And we've just launched the app. It's the top 10 paid app in health and fitness in the App Store. We've been out for 22 days now. And we're just getting started.
So how did that dynamic work, right? Because in theory, this could be like your other tech company where you got involved in product and you had this dependency, which was Apple. Like you didn't build the app and then depend on Hal, I'm assuming. Did he have the vision and you partnered with him? Did you approach him with the idea? What was the dynamic?
He had the community. My fiance Brianna co-authored a book with him. We've been great friends with him for a while. I'm like, Hal, you need a Miracle Morning app. Like, you're not just an author with a book. We want you, I see this huge vision that can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars to build, but if we can just build something that we can get out, we can test. We were profitable the day before it launched. We did a pre-order. The app was already profitable, which is very unlike most apps in the App Store. It's like people, like we were very fortunate that we already had a community, but like there's building something to get it out, test it, make it better, get feedback, listen to what people say. Really, like what I would love to see is people getting just something out there,
well, let's speak about that, because people get really romantic about like trying to ensure they have the right board of directors and the right fundraising strategy and advisors and the perfect logo and the most wonderful colors and their website. And all these things matter, but they don't necessarily matter right out of the get. And you proved this, because in a pretty short period of time, you went from this idea that you shared with Hal, and he's like, yes, let's execute on it. You then execute quickly, you bring it to market, and before it's even at market, you're cash flow positive. So you did everything right. Like this is what we preach to entrepreneurs, is like find a way to make money before you launch the product. I have self-funded more tech companies than I've gone out and raised capital for, and those that I self-funded have achieved high levels of success, and those that I went for outside capital achieved moderate levels of success. So how does somebody do that though? How do they find some way to take their vision and begin to execute on it without the board and the fundraising and the pitch deck and all those things that have a place, but they might not have a place in the beginning?
So the most important thing is to really just go out to a coffee shop and literally pitch people. Like literally talk to people and be like, hey, you got a minute? Tell them about the idea, see what they say, get feedback. You can do that on a one-on-one basis. You could do that on a group basis. You could do that with your friends, but you really want to do it with random strangers in different areas, different places, and test it. Another thing to do is you want quantitative data. You want to be able to have surveys and be able to collect the information. Whatever it is that you're thinking, whatever it is the problem that you're trying to solve, get the answers from people so you actually know what to build. Try to figure out what is the one thing that you can get a gold medal in with very minimal money, very minimal people. It's not necessarily about having resources, it's about being resourceful.
Yeah, I love it. Say it again. This is so important for everybody, because this audience, this is the NASDAQ community, right? So we have corporate executives, we have entrepreneurs, we have people that have big exits, we have investors, and yet the reason why people watch our show is because deep down inside they're like, I want to get deeper into tech. Like I have this napkin idea, I don't necessarily know where to go with it. I want to start investing in deals. I want to find really good deals to invest in. And what you just said is what people need to be if they're going to make it happen. And if you're going to invest in an early stage tech company, they need what you just shared. So please say that again.
Yeah, like it's not about having the resources. It's about resourcefulness. It's about really realizing that there are people all over the world that can help you. We have the internet. we have the ability to connect with anybody that we want and really get the feedback early on and validate the product. Like on the Tech Tank, like it's like, come to us proving that you've already done something that shows that this is a need that touches our heart. Totally, that we can literally just feel. Like we just feel it in our bones. Feel it in our bones. Like this is gonna make such an impact.
You had me at hello.
Like there's such a.
So there's an exercise we do. So Stripe, which is one of the largest merchant processing companies, they came out with this exercise called problem stacking. And we ended up taking this and just expanded it for our use case. But I want to give Stripe credit because it really is a great exercise. But the whole thesis is the everyday person, the business, everybody on the planet has a ton of problems, like a ton. And I'm not a glass half empty person. I'm a glass overflowing person, but I'm a very realistic person. People have problems. I have inefficiencies. You have inefficiencies. But the key is we need to know what the priority of your inefficiencies are. And what often entrepreneurs do is they're not solving a problem in the top 5. They're problem 74. They're not going to pay for someone to solve problem 74 that they experience every 7 years. But what you're sharing is going to a coffee shop and starting to have conversations with people. Going to where you believe your end users already congregating and finding out what do they want and need. This is what you did with Hal. Like there was a community. Like you had to try to screw that one up, right? There's like millions of people that are like engaged in this.
We were able to get feedback. We were able to see our success in a couple of days.
And what you did was you stacked the cards in your favor. You remove the variability. You de-risk the launch of a tech company, which some people are like, oh, he just got lucky. Like it wasn't luck, it was intentionality. You approached him because you saw an opportunity, which is there's millions of people that believe in what you believe. They've read your book, they're practicing your formulas and your blueprints, but there's a missing piece. They want you on their device. They want you to guide them every single morning. Let's build an app that is specific to that. You knew it'd be a home run, right? It was guaranteed. But that's what every entrepreneur needs to do.
Possibilities of where it can go from a technology standpoint and how artificial intelligence and accountability and everything in community within an app. Because we want to get the community off of Facebook. We have a group of over like 300,000 people on Facebook, but they're not all interacting with each other. We need to come up with a home for them. But we can't do that right out of the box. To build a social network on an app costs a lot of money. So we were like, let's build something out that adds value, that can help us continue to just be adding more and more and more value. Eventually, we went from, this is a $5 app. It's just $5 paid app. How many apps do you know that are just like a paid app? We decided like, let's do a paid app and then we'll build enough value into the app where we can then move to a subscription model.
That's awesome.
So
that's a great starting point. So you have another project now that I know is like near to dear in your heart. And I want you to speak into the genesis of it. Why does this matter to you? And let's go into like how quick you were able to go from idea to execution, because that is something that is just, it's inspiring and it's what's required in entrepreneurship. What's the genesis of this? How did this start?
So I've always been fascinated with augmented reality. And my background being in video production, my love for photography and nature and just really capturing life's most beautiful moments. It was something that came about when my friend was having a wedding, and I was like, what do I get somebody for their wedding? Like, you look in their wedding registry, I'm like, you've lived in your house for 8 years. Do you really need that? Like, all of a sudden you get married and now you need all these things. Like, so I was like, what can I create? Because I'm a very creative person. I'm like, what can I create that's unique? What can I create that's memorable? And I'm like, if I'm gonna film something, you know, everybody's taking photos and videos at people's weddings. I'm like, if I'm gonna use my camera and film something, I'm gonna do something completely different than everybody else is doing. So I shot their whole wedding, or like bits and pieces of their wedding, all in slow motion. I figured I'd capture those beautiful slow motion moments, and I put together a video. I contacted their photographer, and I put together I printed like a really fine art photograph on a frame, and I added a video to it, and I built this little app that when you point the app to it, it actually plays out their little wedding video that I made to them virtually. And that I showed it to some people. I sent it to myself before I sent it to them because I wanted to be like, does this actually work? So, and then I started showing it to my friends and family, and they're like, that's incredible. So I then repackaged it, mailed it to them, and they're like, Josh, this was like the best wedding gift that we've ever received. And I'm like, wow. And then I still had more people say, you should start a company. And then a year and a half later, I finally did. And this company was called Moving Moments, where we allow people to basically take all the techie things that I was doing and all the bits and pieces and everything to make this gift for them, but in a user-friendly way where you can upload a photo, your favorite family moment could be from like a vacation, upload a video of your vacation. You could edit it, or it could just be a clip. And then when you point our app at the photo on your wall, it shows that magical moment inside of it. So you get to like relive the moment. Because we have like all these photos and videos that live on our phones, but there's something about elevating our environment with like some of the best moments of our lives, and then being able to point our app and have a story within that. So we built Moving Moments, movingmoments.com. And then my dream was to create an opportunity for time-lapse photographers and videographers to take their videos and their still frames from their time lapses and print them. And when you point our app at it, it brings that video or time lapse to life.
Wow.
So I have a demo.
Yeah. That is awesome. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's share the demo for sure. This is like so cool to me to think that like people, they overcomplicate ideas.
Yeah.
They're trying to like force it.
Yeah.
They're trying to like force their innovation. And for you, it was everything but that. You're like, I have a dear friend that's having a wedding, and I'm not going to buy him a toaster. Like I'm just not going to do it. Like I refuse it. They're not getting. They don't need. It's like someone else can get the crock pot. Like I don't want them thinking about me when they're making their stew.
Exactly.
Like I want to create something that they're going to show their kids and their kids' kids. I want to bring something so meaningful to that monumental experience. So you did. Like you created the slow-mo, you created the app, and it blew everybody away. And it wasn't like you were like, I'm going to go and start a company doing this. Like you saw an opportunity to create a positive disruption.
I just put it together and got feedback. And what's really so cool, Jared, about this project, for me, it really wraps up my whole life's work. Like my love for photos, my love for videos, my love for technology, and making people react in such a positive way, like touching people's hearts when they receive a moving moment, or what some people are about to receive with this moving art, which I'm about to show you, which really just like brings you into the life of nature. My partner, Louis Schwartzberg, has been shooting time-lapse photography in his home for 40 years, 365 days a year, every single day. He's capturing moments of flowers that basically take 40 years of time of flowers, and he's now got 21 hours of flowers like blooming. And we have launched a gallery for Valentine's Day with moving art flowers, where you could buy your significant other a flower, put it on the wall, flowers that last forever. Yeah. And when you point our app to it, the flower comes to life. You get to see the life of the flower. You get to see the story of this flower. It's amazing. I'd love to.
Let's do a demo. This is absolutely amazing.
It would be really, it would almost be cool if it were recording.
Yeah. Where's the app?
All right. You grab it.
This is oh, yeah, that's it.
So he's the director of Moving Art on Netflix. He's got 150 million views. He released Fantastic Fungi. I mean, this guy's been on Disney.
But he must be so excited about this. This is the manifestation of everything.
This is literally his life's work
Yeah.
now being sold as a physical product. So it's like
crazy.
Like before he was just selling this stuff as stock photos,
It's
like
unreal.
stock video libraries, and now we're actually launching a gallery where people can buy art and then
use the app to bring it to life. So Josh, how do I do it? I want to bring this to life.
Okay, so you simply just take my phone. You're gonna hold it up like this, and point the app at the canvas. See what's happening? What's happening?
Unreal. Literally bringing it to life.
Yeah, it's showing what the flower's life was. Like here, it's just a photo. Like this is just a print for those of you that
kids are gonna
confused
love
right now.
this.
But like here, watch. It's still mapped to the canvas.
It's unbelievable. My kids are gonna love this. Think about what you're doing for this artist, right? Like 40 years, 40 years, creating this beautiful art, probably selling it on different stock websites, right? That's one of the use cases of it.
And in his films, like
And in his films.
moving art on Netflix.
But like the legacy now that this can, like just think about this, the legacy that you're able to create for this artist, where this will now, like pieces like this, as of Valentine's Day of 2022, will be hanging around homes from around the world.
Exactly.
For generations, these things are going to be passed down, because there's such story around this. And forever, literally forever, kids and parents and grandparents are going to be taking this app that all started because you wanted to give your friend a really special wedding present, and scanning it over these beautiful pieces of artwork and bringing them to life. I mean, this is what entrepreneurship is. This is taking something that in theory, no one looks at art and they're like, oh, there's a tech company there. Except for this guy who's like, no, wait, I want to bring art to life. I want to bring these milestone moments to life. And this is why we host Tech Talk. Because we want to bring entrepreneurs like Josh to you, to help you open up your mind to what's possible, to have you go and buy this artwork for your loved one and have this piece of art that is 40 years of love attached to it.
That lasts forever.
That lasts literally
You're not just buying
forever.
a dead flower.
It's absolutely extraordinary. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for your commitment to this show. NASDAQ has this show for you, because they want to catalyze more innovators and change makers and disruptors, and they want you to see investors, entrepreneurs, and people that are advisors to tech companies, so that maybe, just maybe, that becomes your tipping point, where then you have the courage to go after your art, your genius, your creation. We thank you for attending. We'll see you on the next episode. Bye for now.